By His grace, He made me victorious. I'm a winner. In the name of Jesus, I'm stronger. By the blood of the Lamb, I'm a winner. In the name of Jesus, I'm stronger.
By the blood of the Lamb,
I have failed many times. I have missed many chances.
Many chances. My world was just a mess.
By His
grace, He made me victorious. I'm a winner. In the name of Jesus, I'm stronger.
Oh,
By the blood of the Lamb,
I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
In the name of Jesus,
I'm stronger.
I'm strong by the blood of the Lamb.
I've done all I've been through. I have grown stronger and stronger. All I will
Oh, how we come.
become wiser and full of faith. I'm a winner.
I'm a winner.
In the name of
In the
Jesus,
name of
I'm
Jesus,
stronger.
I'm strong. By the blood of the Lamb, yeah. I'm a winner.
In the name of
In the name of Jesus, I'm strong. Yes, I am a winner. Oh, yeah.
I'm stronger.
Yes, I am stronger. At the cross, He paid it all. Through Christ, I can do anything. Let the weak say I'm strong. I'm strong. Let the poor say I'm rich. I'm rich. If you want to say I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. Hey.
I'm a winner. I'm a winner. Through the Lamb of God, I'm a winner. I'm a winner. In the name of Jesus,
I'm stronger. I'm stronger. Yes, I am stronger. I'm stronger. I'm stronger.
In the name of Jesus,
You are worthy.
you are worthy.
You are worthy.
Receive our praise.
You are worthy.
You are worthy. We lift your name high.
Oluwa, na you dey make me the winner. Eshe Oluwa, I no go fail never anymore. Eshe Oluwa, na you dey make me the winner. Eshe Oluwa, I no go fail never anymore. Eshe Oluwa, na you dey make me the winner. Eshe Oluwa, I no go fail never anymore. Anymore. I no go lack anymore. I no go lose my breakthrough anymore. I no go get broke anymore. I will never lose my blessing anymore. Trouble no go follow me anymore. Trouble no go follow me anymore. Everything you do go prosper, prosper. Everything you touch will prosper, prosper. Oh, our goodness and mercy be my portion. You lift up my
You are watching the True Word Television, spreading the true word of salvation.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Live Limitless with Dr. Shade. I am your host today and I'm excited to have you join me. Let me just get going by saying this program focuses especially on elevating the mindsets of women and girls. Men, you are very welcome to join us as brothers, as dads, as people who are interested in us developing ourselves as women, because we like to get your concept, right? We like to get your contribution to the discussions as we go on, because we want to get things also from your perspective. But the main target will be women and girls. So someone might wonder, why women? Why girls? Because we're special. I'm kidding, but of course we're special. That said, women do have peculiarities and different perspectives and different experiences, as we all know. Yeah, men have theirs, but women do have theirs as well. I wanted us to be able to take our discussion from the perspective of how women really see things and how we experience things, so that we can talk to the resources that we have for elevating our minds. So while the principle of living limitless will work for everyone, and anyone who listens, the hope is that you go away with something that transforms your situation and helps you see things a little bit different. However, women have, like we said, different issues and different experiences when it comes to the issue of self-esteem, self-worth, and personal development. So we want to be able to, in this program, tailor our talks and discussions around how women perceive issues and how those unique strategies and tools that women might be able to use and the resources that they might be able to look up to address the issues. As an example, we all know that unlike men, women tend to treat things in a continuum. That's why one person says something to a woman, she gets to the next location and she carries over what that person has said, because we do not know how to separate things. It's just the way we're wired. Okay? Also, historically, women in general, but more so women in the black and immigrant society, we have faced many societal and cultural barriers, and some of these things have kind of prevented us from achieving our fullest potential. So we want to be able to focus our discussions in how women of this group can best receive it. So by targeting them in this program, our hope and our aim is that we're able to address some of those challenges and begin to empower women and girls to break free from self-imposed limitations and the expectations that society has placed on us. Now, in doing so, we'll be able to provide a safe and supportive environment for women and girls to share their experiences freely and to feel heard and validated. Also, we know when it comes to the issue of girls that a lot of girls have other people they can look up to as role models other than women, especially the how many of us are daddy's girls here. So there's a lot of girls who have other people we can look up to. That said, it hits differently when that role model is a woman. Can you remember the situation of the world, actually, when Kamala Harris became the vice president of the United States of America? There was a way that young girls were able to receive it, that even though other people had become vice presidents before, even though they had been told that they can be anything they want to, there was something about just seeing a female vice president of the United States of America. Many girls were energized. Many women were encouraged. Not even young girls alone. Even full-grown women, I know, began to change some of the narratives they had about themselves. I'm saying all this to say that a program like this, being targeted at women, is meant to provide a sense of no limitations, a sense of community support, and to let them know that they're able to face their challenges and overcome the barriers. So all that said and done, my name is Dr. Shade. As you can imagine, I'm going to be anchoring this program. And once you hear the title, Live Limitless with Dr. Shade, you begin to wonder. So we've clarified who Dr. Shade is. But then what does it mean to live limitless? When we talk about living limitless, we're talking about embracing your fullest potential. That is living without anything stopping you or causing you to doubt or wonder if you're worthy. That said, it is a situation where you break free from all self-imposed limitations. When I say self-imposed limitations, I'm not unaware that some of the limitations are placed upon us by others and by society. Ultimately, though, you have to internalize it and you have to accept it before it becomes a limitation for you. That is why I call it self-imposed. Because unfortunately, we live in a world where a lot of people will attempt to project their insecurities on you. These are their realities, these are their insecurities, but then they want it to be everybody's reality as well. So they're going to try and bring it at you. It's up to you to either internalize it or keep it at bay. And that's why whenever I refer to limits and limitations, I'm going to be referring to them as being self-imposed. Be aware that I know that some of it is not from within you. Actually, most of it is going to be external, but it is still up to you as a woman or a girl who it is being projected upon to either accept it or say, you know what, that is not for me. I know my truth and I know who I am. Okay, so knowing also fully well that success will differ from one woman to another, I just want you to be aware that when I'm carrying on these conversations, or as we have panels later on, be aware that when we're making conversations, we are not unaware that what represents success for one woman will be very different than what represents success for the next woman. It will be based on your current situation. It will be based on the values that you have for life. It will be based on the goals, your aims and desires for what you want to become in life. Somebody might be satisfied with just being, and I'm going to adjust that statement, somebody might be satisfied with being a wife and a mother. It is not just. If that's all you aspire to be the best mother you can, be the best wife you can. And if that's what you want to aspire, as long as you're doing it excellently, that is success. There will be another person, another woman, another girl who says, you know what, I admire that, but that's not for me. I want to do X, Y, Z. As long as you're following that purpose, as long as you're pursuing that goal, as long as you're staying within your values and your dreams and your aspirations, and you're doing it to the best of your ability, and you're living your best life, that is success for you. So, who is Dr. Shade? I'm going to try very hard not to make this program about me, because it's not supposed to be about me at all. Actually, it is about you. It's about you learning tools and ways and finding resources to begin to live your best life, to begin to be the best person, best version you can be. That's what this program is about. But for you to be able to relate with me and connect with some of the things that I'm going to be saying, I think it is proper to do a little bit of introduction. So that title, doctor, is from a PhD that I obtained in microbiology. Okay, so I'm a scientist, but I'm a coach by heart and by passion. So in my career as an academic, I've taught in universities both in Nigeria and in Canada. So most of my academic career was as a microbiologist. That said, I've also worked in corporate industry. I've worked in manufacturing. I've been a consultant for the United Nations. I've also worked as a consultant for the government of Canada. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I get you. What I'm trying to say in all of this is to let you know that I have a plethora of experience, that I have been in very similar places where you have been. I've probably come across very similar situations than you have come. Yes, I've made different decisions, or made different, how is it said, I've probably made some decisions that you won't make, just like you've come to some decisions that I won't come to. But that's based off of where we are all coming from. Ultimately, I want you to know that I get you. So when you're asking questions in this program, and I encourage you to drop your questions in the comment section, and I'll get them and I'll discuss them. When you're asking questions, I want you to know that I get you. I want you to know that this program is about elevating you. It's about taking you to the next level. It's about opening you up to your fullest potential. It's about encouraging you to be the best that you can be. It's a no judgment zone. My aim at the end of every program is that you take away something that makes your life better. And when you don't understand something, I will appreciate if you clarify, or if you have contributions to make, I welcome those as well, and I encourage you to reach out. So, now that we know each other, and we're all committed to moving you to a place of purpose, a place of no limits, a place of fullness of expression. I'm going to ask you a question, women. Do you find yourself, whenever you want to ask a question, saying, I know this sounds stupid, but, or when you want to ask a question, you say, can I ask a stupid question? And you know the one that gets me all the time is when you have said something really profound. You've just shelled out some serious wisdom. And then you finished it up by saying, does that make sense? Because as women, we have been trained to seek validation. We have been conditioned to look up to other people to tell us that we're good enough. We have been trained by society that unless somebody else says it's okay, then we're not sure. And you know what is interesting? It doesn't matter how educated these women are. I've been with women with lots of titles after their names. And invariably, most women still do this. Where they're seeking validation, you make a very good, solid statement, and then you check around with the people, around you to see if it makes sense. Now, what is interesting is that women usually, we spend a lot of time trying to justify our mere presence. Like the fact that I'm in this room, I just want to justify that I'm worthy to be here. And we carry that into work, we carry that into all our relationships, and we carry that into even the way we approach life and the things that we aspire to. If you have never noticed before, I want you to start paying attention when you stay around women, very smart, highly educated women, and then they say things and then look around to get validation. It is very important to know, and this is where I'm going today, that living limitless is all in your mind. It is a mindset shift that you require to be able to live limitless. What do I mean? It means that you're going to have to begin to embrace the idea that there is actually no limits on you except the ones that you create. Now, it means that you have to understand that as long as you're willing to put in the work, as long as you're willing and ready to take the risks and pay the price, your mindset is the only thing that you need to work on to be successful in any area of your life. It includes in career, in business, in relationships, and in personal growth. Does that make sense? I'm just kidding there, but that is the kind of thing that would happen when you're sitting around women. And it does not matter whether they're around women, just women, or whether there are men there or kids there. There's always this need to validate ourselves. In high school, middle school, like the hip girls have to put down the other girls to feel like they're happening. And so that girl who is being talked down on thinks that it's okay, and then is trying to live a life that fits into the expectation of the hip girls so that you feel accepted. So unfortunately, this is put into the minds of girls very early in life. And unfortunately, a lot of us grow up and we never outgrow it. Okay? Is anybody following what I'm saying today? If you have any questions or if there are any comments or contributions, I would very much like to hear them and I will address them as we go. So, today I'm going to talk about what the key principle is to living a life without limit. Now, when you want to live a life without limit, you have to be able to focus on your strengths. I've talked about mindset, but what does that really mean? What things need to be going on in my mind? What kind of shift do I need in my mind? What kind of things do I need to begin to understand in my mind to help me know that I am limitless and I can do anything I put my mind to, and I can do it and I can succeed, and you know what? I deserve to succeed. without bothering about what it is that another person thinks about it. I am worthy and I can succeed. If you're going to do this, you have to be able to focus on your strengths. So living limitless largely depends on your ability to focus on your strengths. That means identifying your unique talents and abilities. If you're going to leverage your strengths, you have to know what it is, correct? Now I'm going to tell you another thing. A lot of us growing up, we have been conditioned to work on our weaknesses. Here's what I mean. When you're in school, as an example, or I'm just going to use school as an example. I'm going to take a subject in art and math. So take, for example, you're getting 90s in art and then making 50s or 60s in math. When you get home, what does your mom get you to sit down on the dining table and work on? Maths. Absolutely. Because she's trying to get you to improve in your maths. She wants you to get good in maths. So at the end of the day, you've taken time away from studying art, which you're very good at. And I'm not saying don't pass all your subjects. But then you've taken time from studying art, which you're very good at. And now you're committing some of that time to getting good in math. You know the best thing that can happen? At the end of the day, you're going to be average in both. I just used subjects in school as an example. Don't let that be your all in all. I'm using it as a narration so that you understand that. Rather than focusing on what we're good at, we spend precious time trying to work on the things that we're not so good at. So, rather than be that art student where when there's an art competition in school, they say, you know what? That girl, she doesn't know anything in math, but when it comes to art, she can represent our school anywhere and we're proud. You need to begin to learn how to draw your strengths and focus on them. That way, you can leverage it. Because unless at the end of the day, if you don't leverage your strengths, you're going to be mediocre and average in everything. And nobody has ever been rewarded for being mediocre. Nobody has ever been rewarded for being average. What people get rewarded for is excellence, is extreme excellence. So I want us to begin to learn the principle of driving all our energy and all our focus into those things that we are very good at, the things that are our strength. And once we do this, we'll be able to make a path to success. And as we're making that path, it will be more enjoyable, it will be worthwhile, it will be rewarding. In this episode, I'm going to divide whatever we discuss into two main sections. The first one, I'm going to expand a little bit on why you need to focus on your strength and what that means and how you can do that. And then when I finish that, I'll come to another part where I'll be addressing some of the barriers that we face, especially as women, that hold us back from working on those strengths. Are we ready? Going back to why you need to develop your strengths. When you focus on your strength, one reason why you need to focus on your strength is that you are more likely to be willing to take risks. Here's what I'm talking about. If you are required to take risks on something that you're very good at, you're not so scared because you can fall back, you can stabilize because you're very good at that thing. But when I'm asking you to take risk on a subject or a project that you're not very strong at, the chances that you want to resist, or you want to second guess yourself, or you want to check, am I really good enough? But when you're very good at something, if I'm asking you to take a risk on something that you're very good at, you're more likely to take it. Now, one major principle of living limitless is an ability and a willingness to take risk. So part of why you need to work majorly on your strength is that it's a requirement for you to succeed. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone most of the time. But how well do we step out of our comfort zone when we're not working in our area of strength? Just think about it. If you're very good in volleyball and not so good in basketball. When you're playing volleyball, you're more likely to attempt to take a pass that if it was in another game where you're not so good or where you don't feel so confident, you probably let the ball drop because you're not sure. So you're probably more willing to jump or make an attempt where you're very strong. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of working on your strengths, so that taking risks, even though it will still be scary, but because of how skilled you are in there, you are more likely to go for it. And that's how you develop new skills, and that's how you win. Okay, if you have any questions, please drop them. I probably should be taking a look at whether there are questions for me to respond to as it goes on. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I'll be looking out for your questions. That said, I'm going to be going into the second reason why working on your strength is something that we need to focus on in our quest to live lives without limit. Now, living limitless also requires a commitment. It's a commitment and a continuous requirement for us to continue to learn and develop. Now, how likely are you to want to continue to learn and develop if you don't like what you're doing, or if it's not something that you feel confident that you're doing very well in? It means that in learning continuously and in growing, you have to be able to seek new knowledge. You have to be able to look for experiences and develop new skills and new perspectives, and begin to expand the way you're seeing something, and beginning to try to do that same thing in a different way. You are more likely to want to do all that when you feel like this is a strength, when you feel like I'm very good in this area, and then, okay, I've done this very well this way, what if I try it this other way? All that comes from strength. And I'm still working on your mindset to see the need to begin to identify what your strengths are and start to work on them, because you can't work on something you don't know, right? You need to identify them, and then you need to begin to harness them and harness them and harness them, and try it in new ways, and try new things, and conquer new frontiers, and continue to learn new things about it. Now, you're learning new things about the same area where you're already strong. You're more likely to focus. You're also more likely to want to take risks. The third point I'm going to deal with in terms of working on your strength as we live this journey of limitless living is that limitless living is going to require you to be authentic. You're going to have to be yourself. You cannot be another person. You know the saying where be yourself, every other person is taken? You cannot be excellent. You cannot be good, that good. You cannot be all that. You cannot stand out if you're trying to be someone else. The only way to stand out and shine through is to be yourself. Now, how are you going to do that if you don't even feel the confidence in what you're doing? How are you going to do that and really stand up and shine and occupy space if you don't feel that you're doing something very well? Already as women, we have the limitation where we are looking for validation. That's already working for us, if you know what I mean. Now, on top of that, you are now venturing into something where you're not very confident. Chances are that you will not be showing up as your authentic self. You'll be trying to put up a facade. You'll be trying to put up a face. And once you do that, it shows. Let me ask you a question. Do you know when somebody is not being straightforward with you? Like when you're in a conversation with someone, do you get the vibes when this person is not telling me everything, or this person is not being forthright? If you know it, I want you to know that the people you're dealing with also know it. So when you're not coming off authentic, when you're not really being your authentic self, and you're not expressing the truth and the fullness of who you are, it shows in everything you do. Unfortunately, the reward, the lifting, the promotion is in living in authenticity. Now, authenticity will come when you are playing to your strength. Okay, is anybody following me up till now? Please leave your comments for me. Put in your questions. I would like to see them, and I will love to discuss as the questions are coming. And by the way, even if you are watching the replay, if you're not able to join us live and you're watching the replay, please still leave your questions and comments. I want to hear your contributions. I want to hear what your thoughts are. I want to hear questions that come up, or what areas you think we should be addressing as we go on. So, if we're good with working on our strengths and the reasons why we need to, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of mostly why we got where we got and the barriers that we need to overcome to begin to work on those mindsets and shift our thinking so that we can begin to live limitless. We ready? Number one major barrier that women face, and we've alluded to it a little bit even as we started this conversation and in our intro, is self-doubt. As women, we tend to doubt and second guess ourselves a lot. We doubt our own self-worth. We doubt whether we're good enough to be in the room. We doubt whether we're good enough to sit at that table where we are. We doubt whether or not we have anything to contribute. After all, everybody else on this table is smarter than me. Does that make sense? I know you know what I'm talking about. So, for you to be able to get rid of this self-doubt, you have to understand that as women, we tend to have an addiction for approval, an addiction for validation from other people. So the only way to break free from this is to learn exactly why your self-doubt is so persistent. You have to get to a point where you can critically examine exactly what are these self-doubts that I'm dealing with and why they came about. That's the only way we'll begin to change it. Because as women, we have literally socialized ourselves to doubt our own ideas. And we tend to assume that somebody else is smarter, somebody else can do it better, somebody else knows it better. Does that make sense? I know you get what I'm doing, right? When you finish speaking, you're always looking for someone to validate and confirm to you that it makes sense. I know it does make sense. I want us to just be aware and to stop looking for your validation externally. You need to go inside and know that, look, I have worked for this. I have prepared for this. I am qualified to do this. And so here it is, and I'm doing it, and I'm showing up authentically. And that's what's important. Number two major barrier why a lot of us as women tend to the barriers we face as women in trying to live limitless. People pleasing. We want everybody around us to be happy. We want everybody around us to be pleased. We do not want to step on any toes. We do not want anybody to be offended. Now, unfortunately, what that does is that we begin to second guess our own preferences. We begin to wonder, when is it my turn? Because we are trained literally to sacrifice for the benefit of everybody else, and that's what makes you good. Right? Think about it. When we talk about the concept of a good mother, remember that song? Sweet mother, I never forget you. For this suffer where you suffer for me. She is good because of her suffering. She's good because of her sacrifices. That is the value that we've been trained to put around ourselves. You are only good as long as you forgo what you need for me. That's what makes you good. That's the acceptance in the society. And of course, as mothers, as women, we are wired to be empathetic. We're wired to put everybody else above ourselves. Unfortunately, what that does in the concept of living without limits is that if that's not your priority, if that's not all you are looking to be, and you continue to put yourself after everybody else, in the spirit of being all things to all men, while you are doing that, there's a deep dissatisfaction inside you that will not let you flourish. So you're doing those things, you're sacrificing all those things, but you're not becoming. Is anybody following me? You are doing everything, you're giving up everything, you're sacrificing everything, but you are not becoming. You need to be becoming, you need to be being, you need to be growing. And the only way that will happen is to apportion what pertains to you and what pertains to others. And begin to create boundaries. I'm not a bad person because I cannot help you. I'm not a bad person because I said no to you and I had something else I had planned for that time. That doesn't define me. That doesn't make me bad. You are not a bad person if I phone you and you're not able to attend my event. If you have to be out of town or you had planned something else with your family at that time, you are not a bad person for saying no. So if you find yourself doing things only so that, oh, if I don't go, then Kate will be unhappy. Or if I say no, then this person will not be pleased. If you find that the only reason you're doing things is so that, then you need to begin to check it and then see how much you're prioritizing yourself or whether you continually are putting yourself after everybody else. Unfortunately, if that's the game you're playing, you will not be able to, you will never be fully empowered because you will never fully grow and become the best that you can be. Unfortunately, there is a non-stop struggle in our heads as women. We're always wondering, is it our turn? Will I ever get hurt? Will I ever get sin? Do I even deserve it? If you think back, these sweet mothers who suffered, who sacrificed, were just that. They were sweet mothers. Thank God for them. Most of them went ahead to just lay down their own dreams and be sweet mothers. I started this by saying that success for you is different from success for the next woman. This is a no judgment zone. If success for you is to be sweet mother, no life of your own, no dreams, no goals, that itself is a goal. Please do it with all your might. Do it, be satisfied, know fully well that you fulfilled your dream. That is success. If, however, you, on the other hand, no judgment, feel that I have another contribution I want to give to the world. Yes, I want to be a sweet mother. Yes, I want to be a loving wife. However, I feel like there's something else in me that the world needs to receive. I feel like I have been sent into this world to deliver something to this world. Yes, you can. You can be all that and more. You can be that sweet mother, you can be that sweet wife, and then you can go ahead and achieve your purpose. I'm going to tell you one more thing that we need to be aware of in our society. I have seen a lot of instances where a young girl comes up and says, oh, I want to be so profession. And literally, what we ask her is, how will that work for you when you get married? But when a young boy comes, as an example, and says, I want to be an engineer or I want to be a medical doctor, nobody stops and says, how will that work for you after you get married? So we see how we have started to, we start to impute this into the heads of our young girls. And that's why it's very important that as women, we recognize that these young girls look up to us. Not necessarily because they don't have other people to look up to, but it just hits differently when you see a woman living her dream. When you see a woman succeeding in areas where typically women are not, it hits differently for these young girls. And we have to begin to realize that we have a responsibility not just for ourselves, but for the young girls who are looking up to us. They need to know that these things are possible. They need to know that they are worthy and that they can do whatever it is that they put their minds to do. I'm going to be rounding up, but third barrier that I want to discuss before we close this episode is the ability to make strong decisions. Ability to make strong decisions. So here's what's going on with us as women typically. We second guess our decisions again. When you do that, you give power away to another person to tell you what to do. You know, someone said to me, and God bless him, that indecision, that doubt, or that lack of clarity is actually an unwillingness to make a strong decision. When you get to a point where you realize that you're living your lives and your own life and your goals, that you have your purpose to fulfill and it is your life to live, you're going to get to a point where you recognize that, look, I'm going to have to make some decisions that everybody is not going to understand, but that's okay. Do I understand it? Now, you don't go making decisions that you cannot sleep at night. That's not what I'm asking you to do. Decisions that are well thought out on the basis of your dreams, your goals, and your values. And many times, a lot of other people will not understand, but that's okay. Part of the strong decision you're going to have to start making is knowing that there's no vacuum. So for every time you're not living your goal, for every time you're not living your dream, you're living somebody else's own. Unfortunately, you might just be living a projection of another person's dream, for as long as you're not able to stand up and make hard decisions. Now, hard decisions are going to position you, because that's what's going to force you to decide, these are the next steps. And unfortunately, you're going to have to leave some things behind. You're going to have to leave some people behind to be able to go to that next level. The aim is not to leave anybody or anything, but unfortunately, there's sometimes that some of those decisions are going to have to result in that. And unless you're willing to make those strong decisions, then the next level is going to be difficult. Does that make sense? I'm kidding, but I know you understand what I'm talking about. Having said that, living limitless is about embracing the fullness of who you are. We have to begin to consciously break free from self-imposed limitations. I say they're self-imposed, again, even though they are sometimes external, you have to internalize it for it to stand, for it to mean anything. That's why I call it self-imposing. You have to be willing to push yourself to new heights. Now, that is only going to happen by focusing on your strengths. It's going to happen by living your life authentically and being ready to work on your self-doubt, on your inability to make strong decisions, and a deep desire to live a life of fullness. So here are my questions for you. Are you ready to unlock your full potential and live a life without limit? It's a decision, right? It's only that decision that will begin to cause a mind shift and will cause you to do the work. You have to be ready to make that mind shift. You have to be ready you have to make a decision that you want to live your life to the fullest. When you do that, you will stop hyper-focusing on what other people think about you. It does not mean you live recklessly. It means you live dedicatedly and intentionally. Now, the intentionality is yours, not somebody else's. And so you cannot afford to focus on what somebody else is thinking. We hope you get support. We hope you get validation, but you are ready to move without it. You have to be willing to make clear, decisive actions towards your goal. And actually begin to cut down anything that is not moving you towards that goal, because it's not serving you. Anything that is not moving you towards your goal, anything that is not driving you towards your purpose, I'm sorry, my sister. I'm sorry, but it is not serving you. You have to be willing to end the self-doubt that keeps playing in your mind and keeping you small. You are not small. You are bigger than whatever is holding you down, and you can do it. You deserve to do it. You're going to have to be ready to speak out and stand out and be exactly who you have been designed to be. And then you have to trust yourself when it comes to making decisions, big or small. All this is possible. Are you ready? You deserve it. You are good enough. You are qualified. You are strong enough. But will you take it? Thank you so much for being with me this evening. I look forward to being here again with you next week. Same time. Make sure you don't miss the next episode. Cheers.
You are watching the True Word Television, spreading the true word of salvation.
Very simple song. It says, as Jesus is, so are you in this world. In a world where there are so many identity crises, it's important we remind you who you are in Christ. And the Bible says you are only as Jesus in this world. Very simple song. Hallelujah. As He is, so am I in this world. As He is, that is who I am in this world. As He is, so am I in this world. As He is. I'm going to do it one more time. Get familiar with this song. I'm going to do it one more time. As He is, so am I in this world. As He is, that is who I am in this world. As Jesus is, so am I in this world. As He is, very simple. So am I in this world. So are you. So are you in this world. I told you it's a very simple song. This other crowd, everything.
So am I in this world. As He is, so are you.
You are watching the True Word Television, spreading the true word of salvation.